Welcome to Car Guys. We're here at the London Classic Car Show. This week we're talking about classic 911s, what it's like to buy one, what it's like to own one, what you really need to know. Jason at the moment is out there trying to find a 911, a bit like this beautiful 911T that we have here. What he doesn't realise is that I'm also secretly on the hunt for a 911 and I hope to surprise him later on. But first of all, let's go back to Jason and see how he's getting on.
I've been searching for a classic 911 for a long time, got really hooked because I've been listening to the Ferresten podcast, and those guys just will not stop talking about classic 911s. Now, I'm not a big fan of a 911, but I thought, you know, this may be an entry point for me to come and have a look, and it's taken me literally months to find something, but now I finally found, I think, what is one of the nicest 3.2 Carreras around. It's a 1980s car, and I'm here down at Paul Stevens today to pick it up.
What Jason doesn't know is that he thinks we're meeting up today at Paul Stevens, independent Porsche specialist, to do a video on should you buy a classic Porsche 911, and if so, how. What he doesn't realise is that I've already bought one, and this is it, and I'm driving it right now, and I'm going to turn up at Paul Stevens and we're just going to watch his little face. So here it is, the new classic 911 Targa that I've just bought from auction here at Leamington Spa. Beautiful example of the breed. Black Fuchs wheels, body it looks to be in perfect condition. It's the Targa, but it's also the Supersport, which means it's got the wider body and the tail and the skirts. And now, of course, all I've got to do is try and work out how to fit the Targa itself, which is off at the moment. And finally it's on, after a lot of work.
This is why people fell in love with them. It was this shape. Very evocative. Look at this bad boy. What I quite like is this bit of styling here, to make it prove to you that it is actually a wing. And this car is absolutely immaculate as well. I mean, the paint on here is so soft. This is Tom from Paul Stevens. He's kindly sold me the car. Thanks, Tom. Really appreciate it. It's been an amazing experience.
Good.
Give me the keys.
There you are.
Right. So the other thing we're going to do is Damian's going to be turning up in about 5 or 10 minutes, something like that. He's getting a cab here from the station, and then we're going to take it out, and we can get impressions of both of us driving the car.
Okay, so I've driven the car away from the auction. So far, everything looks good. Slight notchiness into second. The oil indicator is fizzing like this a lot. Interior is immaculate, exterior is immaculate. It's an old school 911, so you have to make a lot of allowances for cars of this age now compared to modern stuff. So far, looking good.
So I'm just going to give you a quick whiz round the car. So this is a 1988, 17,000 miles from new Carrera 3.2. It's marine blue, which is absolutely stunning. Even in quite dull light that we've got here, this is quite an amazing colour. Look at the interior, absolutely mint. Nice 80s tape deck and tape storage down the bottom, which is very cool. It's a lovely car. It's got the turbo wing on it, because this is really properly harks back to the 80s for the old red braces and stockbrokers. Fuchs wheels, perfectly original. Just an absolutely stunning looking thing.
So I've driven about 150 miles in the new 911, and so far it's held up pretty well. It's not the fastest thing that I've ever driven, obviously. I mean, it is a mid-80s, normally aspirated Porsche 911, but it holds together pretty well. There's a couple of things I noticed. So the oil gauge is still bouncing around like a earthquake seismograph, but everything's good. Temperature's good, pulls pretty well. The windscreen wipers are weak as shit, but you get used to that. I'm not a big fan of this Blaupunkt stereo, and I'm pretty sure that's not period. You've got the classic dials, running well so far.
I think we're going to show you engine bay, just see how neat and tidy that is, and then show you the bonnet and the... Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Honestly, look what's just turned up.
Hey, how's it going? I've got a 911.
Why has he got a 911? Why have you got a 911?
Well, I couldn't let you have all the fun, could I? And besides, this looks properly badass, so I just had to have it.
Oh my God, look at this. Tell you what, how about that? We've both got classic 911s. How amazing is that? Clearly couldn't wait for me to have some fun in mine, so he's gone out and got his own one. What are we going to do now?
How'd you like these apples, eh?
It's nice. What is that?
This is a 1985 black on black Supersport Targa. Mwah!
I vote that we head out and go and find somewhere we can test drive them. What do you reckon? Here we go. See what these old 80s icons are really like.
The car guys are loose in the world with two 911s.
Damian's behind in his black Supersport, and then looking at him, it just feels like, it honestly just feels like we're back in the 80s.
We've got two very, very happy car guys today picking up two very special 80s 911s.
So immediate impressions, love the steering. Steering is just so good, weights up as you go into the corners, and it feels like such a small car as well.
I love this Targa. This is a really super cool car. Wide body, black on black, it just looks the business. I think I've got off pretty lightly really, considering I just bought it on a whim from an auction site.
The gear stick takes a little bit of getting used to because it's a bit of an odd angle.
There's always a worry when you buy something at auction that you bought a lemon, but this seems to be a good one.
It doesn't feel quick, but when you look down at the speedo, you realise actually it is quite quick.
And also I've worked out how to use the heater, so now it's lovely and toasty in here compared to my journey up where I was completely freezing. The heater controls, for those of you that want to know, are right down here between the two seats. So you just turn the dial and suddenly beautiful warm air circulates the cabin. Oh, it's so nice.
And now that it's warmed up, actually the gearbox changes really well. The ride is quite firm, I'd say.
I'm pretty sure that Jason's up ahead there in his mint condition 17,000 mile 3.2 Carrera. I'm sure he's having just as much fun as I am.
In my new Porsche, my new Porsche.
I've obviously got the 915 gearbox in this older car, which it's a little bit more notchy and difficult to use than the G50 that Jason's got up ahead. But performance-wise and looks-wise, yeah, they're pretty even.
It's got that light-fronted steering and feel. The front end's bobbing around. Classic 911 is what everybody talks about.
Those classic dials up ahead of me, just what a special place to be. Sweeping through the country roads now, we're picking up a bit of speed. You can see Jason up ahead, so I can see he's picking up a bit of speed. He's having a bit of fun up there. I'm having a bit of fun in here.
So we've got some nice twisties coming up now. Obviously it's very cold, so we won't be pushing it too hard, but it'd be good to get a feeling of how it handles as you get closer. Oh, I love that steering. So much feel.
You've got to be a little bit careful because the roads are slightly greasy, and these are old 911s, which means they can be a bit tail happy. If you're cornering pretty hard and fast and you lift off the accelerator sharply, as Jason pretty much just did there, the weight transference from the back of the car to the front is so dramatic that you can spin the car quite easily. So you've got to remember the engine is hanging out right out the back behind the rear axle. So you've got a lot of weight there, which means you get fantastic traction. You truly have to drive these cars properly. You can't just fly into a bend like with a modern car and just do whatever you want.
It is quite a delicate fingertippy type car, you know. It weights up nicely, the steering really weights well as you kind of go into a corner, but it's got that kind of nice light thing going on. Actually, do you know, unfortunately it's really starting to grow on me.
One of the only things I'm noticing about this car is there's quite a lot of noise coming from this pillar in terms of wind noise. So I think possibly the rubbers here maybe need to be replaced, or it could be that I've just not fitted the Targa properly.
It'll be really interesting to see what the Supersport goes like, as that's a slightly different body shape. It's got a couple of extra bits on it, and it's got a different gearbox, I think, but we'll talk to Damian about that in a bit. Look at that! Michael Jackson Dangerous in the tape deck. 1991. Well, that's probably been in there since 1991. How cool is that? It just makes me want to look at all the others. There's more tapes in here. What else is here? Dire Straits, Sultans of... Oh, obviously, classic.
I think he's got a massive smile on his face right now.
How cool is that? Fancy finding 1980s tapes.
Going to a place that's called Fincast or something. It's called something. Begins with F. Finchingfield. That's what it's called. Finchingfield. Hello, people of Finchingfield. Do you sell pasties? What we're going to do now, we're going to go for a bit of a drive in the countryside, and then we're going to meet up, maybe have a spot of lunch, because once again we've forgotten to have lunch. And then we're going to talk about the cars. He's going to guide me around his, I'm going to take him through this one, and we're just going to appreciate them. And then we're also going to take you through really the buying story, what it was like to buy them, and also what you should look for if you decide to do the same thing that we have, which is buy a classic 911. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please subscribe and leave comments and likes. Join us shortly for part 2 of our 1980s Porsche 911 Buyer's Guide.